Conversations in the Den. This is our question and answer video where we'll be answering the questions that our viewers are requesting answers to. Um, so here is my co-host Jennifer Wolfenden.
Hi.
Go ahead, Jennifer. Actually, Alicia's going to be reading the questions and then we'll be answering them.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Alicia.
Yeah, so one of the most popular questions we had was, how did you overcome the fatigue associated with having sex?
Oh, that's a big one. Alrighty. Let me take that one. What do you think,
Yeah,
Maria?
please do. Okay, no problem.
Um, you know, okay, so I'm going to shock you guys first. Never waste a
Oh, you're
hard on.
going to shock us.
Never waste a hard on. No,
I'm not shocked, Jennifer. I'm not shocked.
now listen, while that is said in jest, it's actually my truth. The interesting thing about myself is that both my husband and I are stroke survivors.
Yes.
One of the things we had to do was we had to figure out when we had the most energy. And so because every single day in the life of a stroke survivor is very, very different. No 2 days are the same.
Sure.
We had to figure out what that is. Meaning therefore that you could wake up on a morning and it's a day for morning sex. You can wake up on a day and it's not a day for sex.
Hey.
It could be a day for evening sex. It could be a day for midday sex. You know,
Okay,
and so
now, what is, I guess my question would be then, what's the determination of that?
have you had enough sleep? Do you feel like you've got a little bit more energy than normal? Because with stroke, it's there is normal fatigue, and then there is abnormal fatigue. Normal fatigue is what we manage with every single day. We all exist with a certain level of fatigue, and then there's the abnormal fatigue. And so when we get stressed or tired or sick, then what happens is all the stroke symptoms are heightened. So the awareness of, being confused, the awareness of forgetting, the awareness of not remembering quickly, of not being able to communicate quickly, all of those things get really heightened when.
Okay, now I'm just gonna say that we had two very different strokes. I have never had fatigue.
That is super. And so you can go for, I know, so basically you can have
I
sex
don't
with
mean
on.
in relation to sex. I just mean in general. Like
So you,
don't take naps.
yeah,
I'm just like my issues are more my left side deficiency.
yeah.
I have slight memory issues, but I mean I can remember my bank card number. Like I mean I'm
Wow.
very good with numbers. Like I can remember things.
That's
The things that I forget, maybe like if I scheduled an appointment and then I rescheduled it, I may forget that I rescheduled it.
yeah, yeah.
Things like that. But
No,
I don't have huge memory issues, nor do I have fatigue issues.
so you
So
could,
now
so basically,
I
uh,
had a right side stroke.
uh,
I don't actually ischemic stroke, but I don't know exactly like what like what lobe was affected. Um, I have had blood clotting issues in my past, so to me, I'm just presuming that the issue was a blood clot, and the
mm,
blood clot that traveled into my carotid artery was just a blood clot
yeah,
because I've had blood clots in the past.
yeah.
After the birth of my second daughter, I had one when I was 17.
Hmm.
So so that was the cause to me of my stroke was a blood clot.
So Maria, you can basically get up in the morning and you can go for a walk or
Oh, I
whatever.
can do anything all day. I work out.
Oh, that's
Yesterday I crossed the street and went to the bank.
good for you, girl. Good for you, girl. Good for
I was
you.
terrified, but I did
Good for you, though. I think most survivors have that either low grade, mid grade, or high grade fatigue. And so for those people that are asking the question about how do you manage sex with fatigue, first of all, fatigue has to do with that feeling of not having the same level of energy that you had pre-stroke, the same level of wanting to go on all day long without resting or taking a nap. And so if you have suffer with fatigue, taking naps is normal for you. If you suffer with fatigue, waking up in the morning and not feeling rested is normal for you. But then there are those days when you wake up in the morning and you have that extra bit of energy. And so
Okay.
so when
So
you
you're
do
hoping that your
when
partner has the
those,
energy at the same time as you.
and honestly, if they don't, if you don't, if your partner don't have the same level of energy, I think there's something called, you compromise. There's something called lazy sex, which means that you just you adapt to where people can. I mean, I'm just going to be blunt. There, with my husband and I, there were times when he's on top, and there's times when I'm on top, because he would just say to me, "Okay, babe, it's your turn," and
Okay.
it's my turn because he's getting tired, because fatigue is like that.
Okay, so the fatigue was not affecting his ability to have an erection. The
No,
fatigue
no, no.
was just basically whether you were had enough energy.
It's the act of doing sex, because with people that suffer with fatigue, they get tired very quickly. And so what happens is they make a cup of tea and they're tired. They boil an egg and they're tired. And so you have to manage that burst of energy where you can make a cup of tea, and you got to hone that in bed. And so one of the things that really works with sex and fatigue is just the idea of flipping responsibilities. So maybe girl on top for two
So it's
minutes,
your
boy on
your
top for two
turn and
minutes,
his turn.
and you make
Just
it
switching
work.
up positions.
Change, you make it work. The other thing that people don't seem to understand about fatigue, and this is really, really scientific, is that fatigue is equally tied to exercise. The ability to get over fatigue is very, very closely tied to exercise. Now, I hate using the word exercise, and I'm going to tell you what my husband always says, which is the word is not exercise for people that have a handicap. The word is keeping active. So we don't use,
Okay.
in my household, we don't use the word exercise. We use the word keeping active. Keeping active can mean walking across the street and going to the bank.
Hmm.
Keeping active can means walking down the steps of your front yard and going back up the steps again. And so because we suffer with fatigue, most people don't exercise, they don't stay active. But the thing to conquer, and this is a big word, the only thing that will ever conquer fatigue is the constant gradual increase of exercise. When I first had my stroke 10 and a half years ago, um, I was doing boot camp at a really high end. That's where I had my stroke. It was at the gym, and it was all boot camp. And if you know anything about boot camp, then the name Billy Blanks means something to you. But Billy Blanks tries to kill you every time he teaches you boot camp. And so I swear that's my
I
story.
watched the infomercial, but that was as far as I got with Billy Blanks.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I couldn't do Billy Blanks after my stroke. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get back into it. But gradually I started walking down the stairs. I would walk
Hmm.
down, I would walk down 5 steps, and I'd walk back
Okay.
up, and I would be totally tired. And so I started really, really small. In about 6 months, I was walking down 3 flights of stairs and walking right back up. And so
Okay,
time,
that's great.
you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going, because every
Yes.
moment of keeping active adds to your energy level. And so
Well, I
today,
guess that must be one of the reasons.
2.5
I
years
work
later,
out 5 days a week. I train 5 days a week. Um, I have for like a very long time. I'm very fortunate that I have unlimited physiotherapy. So I'm able to, through my benefits from my job, and so I am able to train every day, 5 days a week.
Mm,
I take 2 days off just to rest my body,
mm,
like Saturday and Sunday. But Monday to Friday, I do physio for an hour,
mm.
and I've
Yeah,
done that for quite a long time. So
that's really
that's
good.
what has assisted me with being able to now walk um, the way that I can walk. The only way thing that affects me is like nervousness. Yesterday I was crossing Main Street to go to the bank, and the lights changed so quickly, and it was rush hour, and I was so nervous that my foot was twisting over. You know,
Yeah,
but it wasn't a lack of energy. It's just a lack of it was just my nervousness.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was my first time crossing during rush hour at
But I
work.
think, but I think you can attest to the fact that exercise or keeping active is closely tied to recovery,
Oh,
because
absolutely,
you know
absolutely.
you were able to recover a lot of motion in your left side, your legs and your hands, because you do that amount of physio every single week.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. I'm very, very blessed to have unlimited physiotherapy, so I can train daily. Um, I also have a vibration machine, so I get on my vibration machine at least a couple times a day. Um, when I'm sitting, even if I'm watching television, I'm lifting my hands. I'm constantly trying to move things. I'm swinging my arm, because I still have left side deficiency with my arm. My leg is better, but my arm, just like when you have a child, their fine motor skills are the last to develop. And
Hmm.
so it's like my fine motor skills in my left arm are not developed yet at this point. So I cannot yet move my fingers on my own.
Yeah,
I can use my other hand to open my hand, but I cannot open my hands on my own.
yeah, yeah.
So
Very
that will
good.
come in time as the brain reroutes itself.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
that.
So we are going to move on to the next question, and you've already started talking a little bit about it. People are interested in you sharing some more of the signs and symptoms of stroke, and what do you think is the most common sign based on the individuals you talk to?
Hmm.
Um, Jennifer, would you like me to answer this question?
What?
I would say from the people that I have spoken to that generally headache is probably a very, very strong sign. A headache. That week that I had the stroke, I've been having a headache all week, and um, it was a very stressful time in my life. Just a lot going on. Not anything in particular, just a lot of things. My daughter's graduation, her prom. I was packing to move out of my home. Just a lot. We had just had a strike at the university. A lot of things were going on, and so we don't realize how stressed we are at times. We just keep going,
It's
and
true.
so
It's
that's what I did. And so I was taking Advil every day because I was having headaches. But also, I will say that one thing that I did not pay attention to was that I was having a lot of numbness in my leg, numbness in my, like my hand was falling asleep, things of that nature, and I wasn't really paying attention to it. I just thought, oh, okay, my leg's falling asleep today. Like I wasn't paying attention to it. But I was taking Advils
yeah,
every day because I was having a headache. But I'm a migraine sufferer, so I just presumed I was having a migraine because I was used to that. So I was taking Advil because that's what we had at work. And actually, when I was in the hospital, and I think I may have mentioned this in the past, when I was in the hospital, I saw on CNN they had discussion that the FDA was saying that Advil increases your risk of stroke.
Mm.
Now, I don't believe it's just Advil. I believe it's all. I think it's ACIDs. I'm not quite sure what ACIDs are. Like which are particular, but it's not. I think it's ibuprofens, not acetaminophen.
Mm.
So I was taking Advil that whole week, every day at
Mm.
work. I was having numbness in my arm, numbness in
Mm.
my leg, but I was ignoring it. And then I had numbness in my jaw, and then I was like, "What's going on?" But I didn't have facial distortion. I just felt like a numbness in my jaw.
Mm.
And so when I was speaking to my coworkers, because we were getting ready to leave, to go down the elevator to leave, nobody said, "Maria, you're not speaking properly," because I was speaking normally. You know, when
Mm.
I mentioned that I was having numbness in my jaw, I felt like I had been to the dentist and gotten a numbing. Nobody said anything odd to me because I was speaking normally, walking normally. I was fine, or so I thought. I left there, went to the doctors. I told the doctor what had transpired, that I was having headaches, and that I had freezing feeling, a numbness feeling in my jaw. He did not. I mean, he's a GP. He did not say, "Maria, you could be having a stroke." He took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was normal. I've never had high blood pressure or high cholesterol or anything like that. So I would say if you're having unusual headaches on a daily basis, if you're feeling numbness in your body or unusual feelings like that, that maybe you need to get yourself checked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, it was the headache was a big teller because I never ever get headaches. And so I'd had a headache from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and it just wouldn't go away.
Hmm.
So that was a telltale sign of stroke. But at 41, for me, 41-year-olds don't have strokes, so it wasn't even a consideration.
At
So
that
that
time,
was that
absolutely.
was that was my bad. And so when I got to the gym on Tuesday morning and the headache persisted, a few of the things that actually happened was I heard myself speak and it sounded quite garbled.
Oh, really? Okay.
Also, other people noticed that my left arm wasn't picking up my weights
Hmm.
and that my right arm was doing fine picking my weights up, but my left arm wasn't doing fine. The other thing that was that affected me was my sight, because things started to get really fuzzy. And so a fuzzy sight, left arm. So I was walking fine. I was understanding what I needed to do at the gym, except other people noticed that I had changed. And so it was that, headache, that uh, eyesight being affected, left side visible weakness, garbled speech. Um, but even so, my brain would go in and out of lucidity, being transported to the hospital. And so in and out, I would be like, well, I don't know what's wrong with them, but there's nothing wrong with me, you know? And, I don't know why I'm in this ambulance. But the other thing that really affected me almost instantaneously was noise. Any noise level just affected me almost instantly. So even the sirens on the ambulance, that was just I just found that so screeching and so debilitating. Even people talking was really
Oh, really?
debilitating to me.
Hmm.
And so for me, those were the signs and symptoms. Like you said, I think one of the things I find too with people is that most survivors that I speak with, they tell me that headaches is and visible weakness, a weakness that's visible to other people. Um, those were and that visible weakness could be what you didn't have, which is the drooping side of the left side of the face. So
Yeah.
watch out for when things change, like when you notice that your sight gets a little wonky, when you notice that you have a little bit of weakness in one arm or the
Maybe
next.
there's some tingling.
Yes, those kind of things. Like, just don't take it lightly, you know, just pay attention to weakness, pay attention to tingling, pay attention to unusual headaches, pay attention to distortion in your sight, pay attention to the sound of your own voice or how noise affects you, because all of those are telltale signs that something is going on in your head that you're not aware of.
But you know, a lot of the time you can also not be aware. Like when I was 17, I had a TIA. Now I did not know what a TIA was at the time.
I
When
mean,
I went to when I went to visit my girlfriend, she was a supervisor at the park, and I was speaking, and I thought I was speaking normally, and she said, "Maria, what's wrong? What's going on?" And I said, "Nothing. You know, we're just talking, and I was saying, how are you doing? How are the kids behaving today? You know, whatever, because she was a, you know, park supervisor. So it's really people have to tell you sometimes what's going on because you're not aware. I was not aware. So
yeah,
I just walked home. I mean, I was physically fine. I walked home from the park, went to my parents' home, and my mother said, you know, you're speaking funny. And at that point, she drove me to the hospital. Now, she doesn't remember this today because I had so many migraines in life that she is like, Maria, I don't remember. You went to the hospital so many times. I don't remember this specific occasion. So, when I went to the hospital, and this is an issue that I have, I really dislike that doctors use medical terms. I really find that extremely annoying. Now, how are you going to tell somebody who's 17 you have a TIA? How the hell am I going to know what a TIA is? And so I didn't know that that meant was having a minor stroke. That was not something that I was aware of. I was 17.
I agree. I
You
agree.
know, when I had my daughter at 28, they said I had a pulmonary embolism. Now, I did not know that that meant I had a blood clot in my lung. I felt the pain of the blood clot in my lung because I was having a pain in my back, but nobody said you have a blood clot that's traveled into your lung, Maria. They said you have a pulmonary embolism. So those are the things that annoy me about physicians. Like we know you think you guys are all gods, but can you please just give us layman's terms so that we understand what is happening with our bodies?
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that would be helpful for us as patients when we go into hospitals and, you know, we just really want people to explain to us what is going on with us, but
Yes.
tell it to us in a way that we really understand it. Because if we don't understand it, you can ask us 20 questions after that. We're not going to give you the right answer because we just don't understand it, you
Yes,
know?
exactly.
So this brings us to our next question. We talked about some of the symptoms and some of the issues surrounding fatigue. People want to know what gave you your determination to recover. So maybe a few words from each of you on that topic.
Okay, I'll answer this one because this is me. Like I am a determined person, always have been in my life. I've been through many struggles through life, from being in foster care to, you know, living on my own from 16, raising two children on my own. I've been through a lot of struggles, but you know, you have to. I think that what I learned through all of that is that you have to make a decision. What you know, when I used to hate when people say, "Oh, you're a single mother," like as if I was like they were pitying me. Um, I was a single mother, but I went to school. I went to work. I took care of my children, and I did all the things that I needed to do. I think a lot of times we might use excuses for things, but if you have determination, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
When I initially had the stroke, I didn't have a clue if I was going to ever walk again. I couldn't even stand up. But I knew that one day, you know, I remember Andre and I used to talk, and I used to say, one day we're going to be walking. We were in Whitby at the time, so I said, one day we're going to be walking down the Whitby shores like we used to. We used to go on these little romantic walks. on the Whitby shores. And that was just like in my mind, like one day I'm gonna walk again. And you just have to know that this is going to, like, this is not forever. This is just a part of your journey, a small piece. And
Mm-hmm.
put whatever effort you have to behind it and push yourself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very challenging. It is very challenging, but you do have to set goals for yourself, and they can be small goals. It's just like, if you want to lose weight or whatever, you can't just decide, okay, well, but in 1 month I'm going to lose 50 pounds. No, that's not how it works. You have to decide, okay, maybe in 2 months I'm going to try to lose 5 pounds, and then as you go progressively. Like, so I knew that I needed to learn how to balance myself. So I was doing physio immediately, and I was trying to learn how to balance. And the smallest things were like, I just was thankful for every small bit. Like, I remember when I was in the harness and they had this my physiotherapist in Whitby had a machine where it would show you which foot was pressing down. And so it would show more red if you were pushing on one foot, or more blue. And so I knew that my left side wasn't pushing hard enough, so I would try harder to push it harder. But I figured that I know there's a purpose for my life. I don't know what that purpose was at the time. I was 46. Even though I was 46, life had been good to me. Even though I'd had challenges, I was extremely very blessed. And so I had had a great career. I had good friends. I was just continuing to live my life. I wasn't allowing the fact that I was a single mother affect me. I wasn't allowing certain things to affect how I lived my life. I was living the life that I thought was best for me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
having the stroke, um, as challenging as it was, I knew that I was going to recover. Now, let's say this. I know, like, I'm not naive, and I don't think I'm good. I know I'm not going to recover 100%. But I know that I'm going to do the best I can to get as far as I can. Now, right now, I'm probably would say that I'm 75%
Mm-hmm.
after 5 years of working out every day.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that maybe next year I'll be 85%. And you just have to just keep working and pushing yourself to keep trying to do better every time.
Yeah.
Like, going from a wheelchair to a cane, and
Yeah.
then trying to walk and balance yourself. And I try to walk on my own when I'm in my condo. I try to walk without my cane as much as I can, because that's the only way I'm gonna learn how to balance my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do my lunges down the hall. I try not to do them with my cane. I try to do my lunges without my cane.
Yeah.
Because the hallway's narrow enough that, I mean, I'm 5'9.5", so if I fall over, I could probably grab the wall.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with doing that. If you're a shorter person, you might end up falling. But
Yeah. Yeah.
needless to say, I try to push myself as hard as I can every day.
Yeah.
Every day. I try to eat. I read a lot of things about brain recovery, like eating dark chocolate, eating blueberries, like the omega 12s, all of those things. Like, I try to do crossword puzzles. I do games on my phone that are memory games. I have crossword puzzle books, word search, those kind of things. So I'm always working on it.
Yeah.
You can't not work on it one day. You can't just decide, oh, today I just don't feel like it. No.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
I
to
hear.
decide that you want to recover.
Yeah.
And there are people, because I've said it before, my massage therapist, her father had a stroke. he decided at that point he didn't want to recover. He didn't want to go to church anymore. He didn't want to be around people. He just did not want to. So even though his daughter is a massage therapist and she could assist him, he said, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me, who's paying for it, I'm like, can you come next week? You know, like, so it's just a matter that you have to decide. You know,
Yeah.
and having people around you who encourage you is also good. Like Jennifer and Jeff were always so encouraging, and they encouraged me, and it made me, you know, just, I mean, they didn't have the same effects that I had, and but I knew they had also had strokes, and they had different issues than me, but I knew that if they could get past, if they could walk, and if they could you know, be normal, if you want to use that word, if they could overcome their physical challenges, that I
Yeah.
also could. And so I was determined that I was going to do that. Plus, I had people telling me, you know, the brain just has to rewire itself.
Yeah.
You know, I had you know, when I went to this place called Mind Move, she said it's just a matter of the brain has to rewire itself. It has to figure out another route. It's like, you know, you come to a fork in the road, you get
Mhm.
lost, your GPS sends you the wrong way. The
Yeah.
GPS has to reset so that,
Yeah.
you know, to the new location that you are, so
Yeah.
that it can now guide you the new way because you
Yeah.
decided to go your own way.
That's true.
You know,
That's
and
true.
so you know, when you look at it from that perspective, you just have to it takes time. And I also don't allow people to offend me. You know, people who have not been through a stroke, like people will say to me, "Oh, Maria, you should be cooking right now. Like you can cook with one hand." There's lots of people who cook with one hand, and I say to them, "Yeah, they were probably born with one hand. That's why they can cook with one hand." I, however, was not born with one hand. I was born with two hands. I was
Yeah.
an athlete. I could
Yeah.
cook. I could do all these things. And now I cannot. So give me a chance to take the time to rewire my brain, to trust myself,
Hmm.
you know, to not be nervous. Like, oh gosh, yesterday when I walked across that street, girls, let me tell you, I was scared. I was terrified.
I
And I'm
bet.
not going to say I didn't stop traffic. I stopped traffic.
Yeah.
They were not going to run me over. So, you know, and I asked for assistance as well. I did not, I'm not saying I walked across the street. I did walk by myself, but
Yeah.
like, nobody carried me. But I did ask the person that was on the sidewalk beside me,
Yeah.
can you walk across with me? You
Yeah.
know, because I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not going to allow cars to run me over.
Yeah.
You know,
Good.
but you know, I'm not, but I am gonna try. I'm gonna make the effort,
Yeah.
and that is what you have to do. You have to make the effort.
Yeah.
It depends
Absolutely.
on you. If you want to continue living, I'm 51 years old. I was 46 when I had a stroke. I was still gonna keep living. You know, I was not going to just decide that okay, that's it for me. No,
Yeah.
no, I was not finished. God's not finished with me yet.
Yeah. True that. True
You
that.
know,
Very
and so I was just gonna keep pushing.
good
Now
for you.
Jennifer had a husband. Um, you know, hey, I also still want to get married one day. I've never been married.
Yay.
You
Good. I'm
know?
glad.
So I
I
mean, there's a lot of things that encourage me to keep fighting, pushing hard. You know,
yeah.
um, I want to, you know, see my parents grow older. You know,
Yeah.
I want to see my nieces and nephews grow older and see
Yeah.
how what they achieve in their lives. You
Yeah.
know, so there are things that I still want to um, witness in this lifetime.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I have to stay alive, and I have to push myself. You know,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Sometimes I live in this condo, and people will say to me, "Wow, I remember when you were in a wheelchair." I don't know these people,
Yeah.
but they have seen me. go from, I had a girl who was a police officer that lived on my floor who said to me, I'm going back to bodybuilding because I watched you every day doing your physio in the hallway. And I said to myself, if she can do it, I can do it. And she
That's
said,
right.
so I'm going back to bodybuilding.
And sometimes we become the inspiration for other people, you
Yes,
know. we,
absolutely.
we become that inspiration. And I think for myself, what motivated me was the fact that I loved my life. I
Yes.
loved, I loved my job. I loved my kids. Um, I loved my friends and my family, and I loved the things that I did in the community, you know? And
Yes.
so for me, the motivation was, I need to get back to
Living
that.
your best life.
I was living, at 41, I was living my best life, and I needed to get back to that. I had made some changes in my life that I wanted to finish carrying out. And so I was very, very motivated. As a matter of fact, my first thought was, I need to get back into doing something that'll tide me over until I'm better, to return to my work and to return to my day's activity. And so
Yes.
that pushed me into the volunteer world, because what I ended up finding out is that um, I needed to keep my skills up. So I started volunteering. I started looking for groups to volunteer at. You know, I went to the Hamilton Young Stroke Survivors group, which I now oversee.
Hmm.
That's where I met my husband, and
And that's where you met me.
that's where I met you. Yeah, and I know Jeff and I were always like so in awe of you, Maria, because we would see you from time to time, and we would look at each other and go, "My gosh, she not in a wheelchair being wheeled in, but other people?" He's like, "Yes, look at her today. She's amazing." And we would have this conversation. We would talk about you, actually. We would have conversations with people, like we would say, "My goodness, have you met Maria?" And they'd be like, "Maria," and we're like, "Yeah," and she doesn't come out very often, but if you remember her, this is what she looks like. And people would be amazed. And so we would tell your story of what we've seen of you to other survivors, and they would be encouraged to do things differently, to be motivated, to want to get better. But I think one of the
And
things that
I'm very glad that was the case because that is what I want. The
yes,
reason why I started the Accessible Event Management Group is because I wanted people to feel like they can still live.
yeah,
You don't have to sit in your apartment every day. You
yeah,
can go out and you can go to a social event. You
yeah,
can still go out and live life. You
yeah.
know, I am a social person. I am a outgoing person. I am shy, as much as people always think I'm not. But I am very shy at times. But I like to socialize. And
I,
so for me, sitting in my apartment all day by myself, because I live on my own, um, that was um, that was not enough for me. I knew there had to be a purpose. There was a reason why God allowed this to happen to me.
yeah,
You know, He didn't cause it to happen to me, but He allowed it to happen because I had a stroke in my sleep.
yeah,
I could have not woken up, but for some reason, God felt the need to wake me up that morning.
yeah,
And so
indeed.
I feel like there's something that God wants me to do. There is
Yeah.
something that I have yet to do on this planet. And until
And I
that
think you're doing it. I think you're doing it.
Yeah, and
I,
until that is done, then I'm out of here.
yeah.
You know?
So that
But
actually brings us to our last question.
part, part, sorry, Alicia, I wanted to speak to one thing that Maria said earlier. And Maria, you said when you were crossing the street and you were terrified, and you were afraid. You
Yes.
said you said that you said you weren't ashamed. And I think that's the thing with survivors, is that we are ashamed of who we were and who we are after stroke. And that is another trauma, because we don't and I say we, because I put myself in all of those categories. Not that I felt shame, but what motivated me the most was that I wasn't ashamed, because I wanted to return to the life I was, and I felt like I could. And so shame didn't play a factor in me not doing what needs to be done to get back to where I was getting back to. But I think a lot of younger survivors, they feel shame because they look at themselves in the mirror and their smile is lopsided, and they see that their eyes droop, and they see that their hands don't work, and they feel
That's
shame.
okay. You're still
And
here.
so what I want to do is encourage whoever's watching, don't feel shame.
No,
Get
there is no
past
shame.
that shame, and just remember that you can achieve what you want to achieve. But if you carry the baggage of shame, it's going to weigh you down twice as much. So not only have you
No,
been
you
hit
have to,
with the whammy of having a stroke, you've also added on another whammy to yourself, which is the feeling of shame. So don't be ashamed.
yeah.
Do it. Go smile.
When I
Go
started
smile in
dating,
the mirror. Go talk to people. I mean, I remember
yes.
when my smile was lopsided, and I would stand in front of the mirror, and I would smile every single day to get my smile back. And I would touch my face. I would touch my face and go, okay, where's your smile? And so because I don't have feeling on my left side, I would have to try and remember what my face felt like when I smiled the way my smile was. And so I would look away from the mirror, feel my face, and then I would look back. And so I did that for almost a year to get my smile back because my smile was lopsided. And so today, my smile is back because I wasn't ashamed to grab that
Smile is
mirror.
back, girl.
Yeah, but yeah, you got to do these things that you're not ashamed to do, And
No,
so,
you have, you know what? I recently started dating. Now, when you meet
gotta
people
tell.
and you are you know, like you have to explain to them, you know, everybody wants to like they want to know what like people initially when they first meet me, they think that I was in a car accident or something. They don't think stroke doesn't cross their mind. They
Hmm.
probably think I'm younger than I am
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah,
And so they assume that I was in some kind of car accident or something why I'm kind of walking with a limp. You know, so when I have to tell somebody, I had a stroke, you know, there is something in me. Like there is something in me, and a bit of insecurity because I feel like they think, "Oh gosh, is this girl going to die on me?" Like, like I mean, people ask all kinds of questions. They ask, can you have sex? And I'm like, there ain't nothing wrong with me. Yeah, I can. Um, People ask a lot of questions. So initially, people would ask me, did you have heart problems? Did you have high cholesterol? Did you have high blood pressure? And I'm like, I had none of that. I just had clotting issues that were not addressed by my physicians. And so once I went to see the I went to a thrombosis specialist, and they told me that I was fine. But I said I don't want to be taking blood thinners, but I would like to take something. And so they put me on an aspirin regimen. So I now take one aspirin a day. But if I had been doing that all this time, maybe I never would have had a stroke. But
yeah.
nobody. I remember my doctor, Dr. Lazara, saying to me, "You can have one glass of red wine every night. It will thin out your blood." And I said, "Are you trying to turn me into an alcoholic?" I don't joke with him. Um, but if instead of telling me to have a glass of red wine every night, if he had said to me, Maria, take an aspirin every night, maybe I would have never had a stroke. Maybe when I went to see him and said, my jaw is numb, if he had sent me to the hospital, maybe I would not have gone through the last 5 years
Yeah.
in this way. But, and I will never forgive you, Dr. Lazaris. I'm sorry. I will never forgive you. But no, sorry, I'll never forget, but I will forgive you because obviously you were not well versed in strokes.
Yeah.
General practitioners don't know everything about everything.
True.
And I think what he should have done is send me to the hospital, but he did not. But I've
Yeah.
also had people go to the hospital and the hospital has sent them home.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, it's something like for whatever reason, like I said, I was meant to be here.
Yeah.
And so I am not going, I'm going to do whatever I can with that time that God has given me
Mm-hmm.
to encourage the other person,
Yeah.
to make sure that somebody else doesn't have to go through what I'm going through.
Yeah. Good for
Because as
you.
much as I fight every day and as much as I work out and as much as I try to make a difference,
Yeah.
believe me, this is not easy.
And no, it's not.
We may make it look easy, but it is not easy.
No.
And we're doing the best we can and we're fighting hard
Yeah.
so that other people will fight hard too.
Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
why we are here.
And I got to share one more thing about the motivation question. Is it the motivation or determination? What are we at? Motivation or determination?
Yeah.
What provided the determination?
So we're at determination. We haven't got to the motivation yet, have we?
The next one is about memorable first.
Okay.
So we'll end there.
Okay, so I wanted to share about one thing that motivated me, and I love wearing stilettos. I love wearing high heels. I'm 5 feet 2.5, and here I was in, I know, I was in this bed, Maria, and I could not eat. I was
Stilettos
falling.
on or without stilettos on?
But I got to tell you my story, girl. So I was falling off of the half an inch tall, the thongs I was wearing, I was falling off of those. The sandals that was half an inch high, I was falling off of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I have to wear my high heels again. I have too many high heels. So you know what I did? I said to God, can you just really help me to wear my high heels again? And he says,
Wow.
and
That's
my
the
heart
best you
hurt.
can ask him for?
My heart's heard. Let's do it. So I would walk in I started walking in a half an inch. Then I increased to about 2 inches. I would hold the
Oh
wall.
gosh.
I know. I'm
Girl.
telling you, that was my motivation. That was the thing that said to
Okay,
me.
well, I'm 5'9.5", so I didn't have that motivation.
So today though, I can walk in my 3.5 inch heels, and but I am
Okay.
telling you, that was one of because Maria, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a shoe horse. I am Imelda Marcos. I have so many high heels, and I was not going to give them away, and I was not going to take them to the thrift store. So I had to do
Well,
something about
unfortunately,
this.
I did do that because even though I'm 5'9.5", I always wore heels,
Yeah.
and I just really liked when my legs looked in heels. I like seeing heels. I probably missed out on a few dates because of that, because people are probably like, "Wow," but
That's too
you know,
funny. That is
I
too
think
good.
that my motivation was my eldest daughter said to me, she said, um, you're not my mom anymore.
Hmm.
They were used to me being the fighter. They were used to me being the strength. And so when she said that to me, I don't know if she said it out of anger, if she said it out of whatever. But when she said that to me, I realized I have to demonstrate to them when things happen in life, you have to move forward. You cannot just give up.
Yeah.
I mean, my life did not go as planned. This was not the plan for my life, but
Yeah.
my life worked out the way that it worked out. And
Yeah.
now I'm here the way that things are, and I'm very blessed because of my job and because of the people that supported me. I am still here and I am still pushing hard and I'm still fighting to get as close to Maria as Maria was. Um, you know, um, I may never get back to who I was. I was always the smart one. I was always the one who was, always trying that other next thing. I always had that other idea, this new business idea, this. And I'm still that person, because believe me, I want to start a construction company that does accessibility that builds ramps, that builds that installs safety bars,
Yeah.
that does all these things so that people can stay in their homes and they don't have to leave their home and go and be in a long-term care facility where they're not comfortable unless they have Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah.
But where they can stay home in the home that they've been paying for and living in all these years with their family, with all the memories in it, that's where I want them to stay. I don't want them to have to go to a long-term home. So
Yeah,
I
I
want
agree.
to be somebody who can give them the ability to stay in their homes.
Yeah.
So I have a contractor who will build ramps. I am working constantly on this idea that's in my head. Accessibility is now become my determination.
I'm
My
so happy.
determination is to make life accessible for all people who have gone through, whether it's a
And
car accident,
yeah,
a stroke, a brain aneurysm, a brain tumor. I want to make sure that those people can still
yeah.
continue to live and they don't have to give up on life because they can't access
Thank
something.
you for doing that.
That's not
Thank you
fair.
for doing
That's
that
not
for
right.
everybody. Thanks for doing that for everybody, Maria. You do that really well. You do that really, really well. So thanks for being that girl. Okay?
You
On
know,
behalf of all of us, thank you. But
I
yeah,
just think that it's just right. And I know I wanted to work on Bill 81. Um, so I was trying to work with the Ontario Disability Justice Network, but I wasn't really getting a lot of feedback, so I kind of let that go. But if I can be there and be an advocate for Bill 81 for accessibility for all businesses to make sure that they have accessible bathrooms, make sure that they have accessibility not just to get in the door. I want to be able to go to the bar and have a drink. I want to be able to go and sit at a table. I want to be able to use your facility that you created for everybody.
yeah,
And so this is what my I feel that this is my newest um what's the word I'm trying to say?
advocacy
What
work of
I'm advocating for.
good.
And I don't know really where to start with it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know who to go to.
yeah.
And so I just, you
So
know,
this is you're in the exploring stage of making that happen.
yeah,
You're
so I just am
for
creating
you.
because that's
Yeah,
what I do. I just create it.
yeah,
Okay, so maybe it doesn't exist.
yeah.
So guess what? Maria's gonna create it, and that's what's gonna happen. And we're
You
gonna have an accessible and home redesign, so that you can stay in your home and your home can fit your wheelchair.
that is amazing, Maria.
And
Everybody needs that, and I think people need that, and I think people need to feel like those things are coming to them, because I think so many times we lay down the gauntlet because we've had no we couldn't find anybody to help us lift the gauntlet when we couldn't lift it anymore, and so we lay down and we die. And laying down and dying involves, okay, you can take me to a nursing home and you can shut the door and you can come and visit me once a week or once a month. And
now,
so that
what was
pardon?
hurting me was when I was hearing about all these people dying from this COVID-19 in long care homes. I
Hmm.
was saying to myself, look at that. If they could stay in their own homes, they would be alive.
Yeah, they'll be safer. Yeah,
They would be safer.
yeah,
And they could have been home and, have accessibility in their own home
yeah.
so that they could, and they wouldn't have been subjected to all the other people. And then they would be here today to see their grandchildren and all these things. And so, when I think of when I was hearing about all these deaths in long care homes, it was pushing me to say, Maria, see, something, this is what you're supposed to do. You
Hmm.
have to do this because there are too many people not being cared for because their loved one can't be there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so making this happen is now become my new dream.
Man, amen. Thank God for you, girl. Thank God. Alicia, I think, do we have one more question? Are we running out of time, Maria? I don't know.
We do have one more question, and I'm going to ask that you sum it up in just one sentence each. And
Oh, we have run out of time. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this is asking, what was your most memorable first?
My most memorable first was the very first time I walked in a 3.5-inch heel without holding on to the wall and without holding on to somebody. I walked out of my room, down the stairs, out the front door, down the sidewalk, and into the car. And I felt like $1,000,000. It was awesome.
My most memorable first is nothing near that. My most memorable first is when we were throwing we had to throw these little sandbags into this bucket, and it was assisting with our balance. And I got 3 out of 5 in the bucket, and I was like, woohoo! I was texting people. I got 3 sandbags in the bucket today. Like, that was my most memorable first. And it may seem like nothing to other people. You know, that's what we did in kindergarten, I know. But guess what? To me, that was amazing because I stood and I leaned over and I threw those little sandbags into that bucket. And
It was a
that
big deal.
was
It was a
huge for me.
Yeah, I hear you, girl. Absolutely a big deal. A big deal. Well, I think this is the part, Alicia, you wanted me to say that I'm not going to be here. Are you guiding us?
So Jennifer has some exciting news to share with everyone. She will be back joining us, but I'll let Jennifer tell you herself.
Yeah. So I am going to walk the Camino Frances. Last year I walked the Camino Portuguese, and this year I walked the Camino Frances. This year
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
Yes, and so I will be walking about 900 kilometers from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, which is in France, and I will cross the Pyrenees, and then I will end up in Santiago, Spain, at the cathedral. And thanks, girl. And so that is a big deal for me as a stroke survivor because I am carrying my entire wardrobe on my back for 55 days straight. So, and I can't pack any. There are no high heel shoes in there. That's it. It's one pair of thong for the bathrooms. But come back and watch our shows, Conversations in the Den.
Oh yes, we have so many topics to cover.
Yes, please
do. We've only just begun.
Yes, Maria has got a ton of wonderful, amazing guests coming on, and you don't want to miss those guests. You really don't want to miss hearing what they have to say and how things go. So please come back in the next
things
yes
that happen in life.
Yes.
And you know, we don't ever know what it's going to be. There are things that we have never heard of. There's things I'm learning about as I go through this process that I've never heard of. You know, and I just want to support people in going through whatever life hands you. You know, and right now we're in COVID-19, and I hope you're all taking care of yourselves, wearing your masks when you're in public, making sure that you don't put yourself in a position to get sick or bring the illness home to your families. Wash your hands.
Absolutely.
Put your mask on. I know we don't want to wear a mask. We want to put our makeup on. We want to look cute. But guess what? This ain't the time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, so take care, everybody. Jennifer, I love you. Have a wonderful trip.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you when you return and hearing all about it.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Well, listen.
Lots of pictures.
You bet.
And listen, if you
can. You absolutely. Well, listen. Love you guys. See you guys in about 7 weeks.
Okay, hon.
Bye-bye.
Have fun.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.